This is a podcast from soof.co.uk. Hello, I'm Patrick Downs. This is all about film, whether it be Blu-ray, DVD or streaming. This is Bring the Film. In Washington Heights, New York, the scent of warm coffee hangs in the air just outside the 181st Street subway station, where a kaleidoscope of dreams rallies a vibrant and tight-knit community. At the intersection of it all is a likable and magnetic bodega owner who hopes, imagines and sings about a better life. This is In the Heights. Directed by John M. Chu and produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda. It stars Anthony Ramos, Corey Hawkins, Leslie Grace, Melissa Barrera and Olga Meredes. And our film correspondent Kate Donahue caught up with Anthony Ramos, who plays Usnavi, about how he felt when he heard In the Heights was going to be made into a film and his reaction when he got cast as the lead.
It felt so beyond anything that was possible, truly. And then when I got the call, like I was shocked, and I was happy. I was surprised. I was at my high school teacher's house in her backyard when I got that call. She's like my Shakespeare teacher. You know, she helped me learn one of my first monologues ever. So that was an extra added layer that made that moment extra special.
And of course, you've worked with Lin-Manuel Miranda previously. How has your relationship developed over the years, and was he with you every day on this film?
We've worked together now, this is probably the fourth time. Lin's just always been there, you know, like Lin looks out for his people. Like Lin is a genius, he's brilliant. I'm always learning from him. Like I've learned so much from him over the last few years. You know, we've known each other now for like, it's gotta be almost 10 years now. I've just been blessed to work with him time and time again, because to work with someone like him, it's impossible to not learn from somebody. Like conversations he's having with the director on the side, or he comes back, changes lyrics to something. He's like, yo, I was on the train and I was just thinking about this and I rewrote this on the train real quick. That kind of brilliance is, it's a gift to be around, you know, even one time. And the fact that I get to be around this a lot and soak that in, that's something I don't take for granted.
The opening number, In the Heights, is such an epic way to open a film. How was it to film with such a huge ensemble for that number?
Oh man, I mean, it was great. I mean, it was nerve-wracking. I mean, I was learning, especially that last dance sequence at the end where I'm rapping and doing that fast choreography and the cameras coming, all the crane is coming down on me and landing on my face, and I gotta hit them, you know, had to hit them. I was so nervous. I was over here practicing. I got all the dancers over here, all around everywhere. I'm like, yo, I can't mess this up. Oh my gosh. Like, you know, so I think that opening number was, I was definitely nervous about it, but I think there was something about the nerves that made it even more exciting and made it, you know, got the adrenaline pumping and got, you know, it was like, all right, let's kick it into gear. It's almost like Dragon Ball Z. You turn Super Saiyan and you like, you know, you gotta kick it up a notch. So, but it was really exciting. And then to watch the opening number, and just to see that shot of all of us dancing in the middle of the street and this camera just panning in, and like that, flipping up, and then the title comes and birds fly by, and, you know, and the bridge is right there. I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
So now audiences have been waiting such a long time to see this movie. How excited are you for cinemas across the UK and Ireland to be playing In the Heights?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for people to sit in the theater and see the movie in the way that we intended people to watch it. It was always in everyone's mind for people to see the film that way. You know, this is a musical. There's these massive dance numbers. So you're going to watch this on a TV at home? I mean, you can, but it's like, if you can do it safely, I'm like, yo, go to the movies. This is an event. I'm like, yo, this is an event. Take the person you love, you go on a date, whatever you want to do, you take your friends, take your family. Like, this is an event. This is a thing to see in the theater. You know, there's nothing like going to the theater where, you know, everybody's laughing at the same time. Everybody's crying at the same time, right? You feel the energy and the vibration of this piece that in a movie theater, like no other place. So I'm like, everybody get out there, please go to the theater and see it. I'm excited, especially, you know, for it to be around the world, you know.
Directed by John M. Chu and produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda. It stars Anthony Ramos, Corey Hawkins, Leslie Grace, Melissa Barrera and Olga Meredes. Our film correspondent Phoebe Winter caught up with Corey Hawkins, who plays Benny, about what he was most excited about when being offered the part of Benny in the film.
The opportunity, first and foremost, to sing and dance in a film, an act. The opportunity to work with the legend, Lin-Manuel. I'm like trying to figure out a word to describe Lin because he is singular. Lin-Manuel Miranda and Kiara Hudes, led by John Chu. Like, what? You know, it's just mind blowing. And then finally also the opportunity to work with this cast on a story that really represents this community in a just a beautiful way. It's just needed. I'm honored to take on that mantle and get the bruises and the bumps that we got along the way to finally get this story out to people.
You mentioned the cast. You have great chemistry with Anthony Ramos. How much fun was forging that on-screen friendship with him?
It was a good time. Like, we just were ourselves, you know, and that's great when you can be in a film, a big budget Hollywood film, and just be yourself. And that's part of what we're talking about, like inhabiting these spaces and like being able to have that camaraderie and space and lift each other up. And so that's what that was. I knew Ant before, so, you know, from the theater community and everything too. So it was just great to finally get to work together officially. You know, he's one of the best number ones on a call sheet that I've ever worked with.
And you perform a fantastic duet with Leslie Grace, When You're Home. How enjoyable was it to work with her on such a fantastic song?
Leslie and I first met walking down the street to the chemistry read. Everyone was upstairs, Lynn, John, everybody was there, Kiara, all the producers, and we literally put our hand on the door at the same time. Like, it was one of those like New York street movie moments. Like if a camera was capturing it, you'd be like, oh, like literally. So then we start bumbling on how to open the door, and then we get in, and then we're like on the elevator at the same time. And we just knew, like, it was just like, wow. I took her lead a lot, even though this is her first film. She is radiant, strong, intelligent, open, vulnerable, beautiful. Her voice, her talent leads. She's just incredible. And so to be able to work with her in the studio, I would be so nervous because my sort of, you know, I hadn't been that often in studios and stuff. And so to work with her in there was just incredible as well. And you just have fun.
And I was struck by the inclusion of some really important issues within this musical setting. Why was now the right time to bring the story to the big screen, do you think?
It's been time to do it. So, you know, at this point, it's like, it's always the right time to have these conversations, I think. I'm just so grateful that Kiara found a way to incorporate it organically into the script that doesn't feel heavy-handed. It feels right. Sonny's story, like that whole narrative there is just, it's important. Mark Antony playing his father, like it's beautiful and timely and necessary that we don't hold back. When we have an opportunity, when you have a creative team that's filled with people of color, and we have a world right now that's open and receptive to a lot of these things, I feel like the timing just couldn't be better for people to go and sit in a room with people who you don't know, from different backgrounds and love this community from afar, up close, all the things. So I love it.
So Phoebe Winter caught up with Melissa Barbara and Leslie Grace and asked Melissa first off how she felt when she found out from Lin-Manuel that she got the part.
Being a huge fan of something and then getting to be a part of the movie, like, I was exploding out of my skin in happiness. I cried for 3 hours straight. I cried when Lynn called me, and then I immediately called my mom, and I kept on crying. And then I called my husband, and I kept on crying. And then I just sat in the couch that I was at, and I just felt like my body was like floating up into the ceiling. I remember thinking in that moment, I was like, I want to remember this feeling forever. It was like an immense feeling of satisfaction, you know, like of everything that I've worked for has led to this moment. And all those difficult moments of doubting and of, you know, not knowing if you should keep going, and all the rejection has been worth it because of this.
And Leslie, this is also your first time on a movie set, I do believe. How did it feel when you arrived? And did you shoot your huge opening number on day one?
I did it. We didn't shoot it on day one, but I was very scared as though it were the first day every single day. I was like, how am I here? How am I here? They're going to find me out. They're going to find me out. I should not be here. And yeah, it was intimidating. But then also every time I would doubt anything, Corey was there to be like, yo, relax. You know, it was kind of like being reminded that, you know, when we get to tell our own stories, there's so much of your own personal life experience that you can bring to this and bring to your characters. And so I was reminded of that every day. I'm a New Yorker. I was born in the Bronx. I have family in the Heights. And so I just try to use all of that and remind myself that I was with family, which I really was, and was given all the generosity that I needed to learn all the things I needed to learn to play Nina. And what a wonderful school, you know, it was like just brilliance all around me. It was great.
And Melissa, you have great chemistry with Anthony Ramos. How much fun did you have to creating that on-screen relationship? And is it true he DM'd you before your final callback?
Yeah, that is true. He DM'd me and I was so grateful because I wanted to reach out to him and I didn't know how. When I'm doing something as important as this final chemistry read, I was like, I want to just talk to him first. I don't want to like go into the room and have to create all the history that the characters have in a second. I told my reps, I was like, can you guys reach out to his reps to see if we can like have coffee before or something? And as soon as I hung up with my team, I checked my Instagram and he had DM'd me. And I was like, I'm so happy I started following him too, because I have my Instagram set to like, I only receive DMs from people that I follow. And I had just started following him like in December because of the callbacks. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy I'm following you. And then it was easy, you know, like the chemistry that you see, we got a chance to, you know, all of us, because we had such a long rehearsal period, we spent a lot of time together and we got to know each other. And we bonded over being terrified of being a part of something so special and feeling like, are we going to be good enough for this? And I think that helped a lot, because by the time we got to shooting, we'd spent 2.5 months together, and the love that you see on screen is real.
And Leslie, Nina has some traumatic experiences at college. How important do you think it is to deal with these very real issues on screen?
Everything. I mean, that was one of the main things that made me feel so validated in playing Nina, because I've felt that way. And even me being a music artist in the music industry, being Afro-Latina and being in the Latin music world, I still felt otherized, you know? And so to be able to see a young woman like Nina, who is the best of her barrio, is considered to be the best of her barrio by the people that love her the most, go out into the world and be looked at as totally different. And we get to see her arc in her finding her voice again in that story. It's a rarely told story that we need to hear, because a lot of people feel this, no matter where you're from, you at some point you feel otherized and you feel different, because we're all unique, right? But specifically for the Latinx community and the immigrant story, and also the first generation story of not being enough to fit into this world where I'm too privileged because I'm first generation and my Spanish isn't perfect, or not being enough to be, to fully assimilate and conform and to keep up with people that aren't from the block that I'm from and that don't even know, what Dominican is or whatever. So it was very, very validating for me as a person. And I know it will be so important and so validating for other young girls and boys who feel or have felt this way too.
Directed by John M. Chu and produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda. It stars Anthony Ramos, Corey Hawkins, Leslie Grace, Melissa Barrera and Olga Meredes. Phoebe Winter caught up with Jimmy Schmitz, who plays Kevin, how much he enjoyed the singing and dancing in the film.
I got to check off my bucket lists, artistic bucket list there. 4 lines of song and 8 steps. I was in heaven.
And I'm working with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Well, I remember seeing him at one point after the Broadway success of the show, and he was telling me about this book that he had read over vacation about this guy named Hamilton. I said, the guy on the $10 bill? Yeah, him. He's an immigrant. When he floated away, I said goodbye to him. I said, that kid's got something. He's got something. he's changed the landscape on so many levels. We're so proud of him, and honored to be a part of this.
And Gregory, Sunny and Usnavi have such a great connection. How much fun did you have forging that relationship with Anthony Ramos?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Anthony is like such a big brother figure in my life. I remember the first time we met him was a chemistry test, and just immediately having that connection. I beforehand was such a huge fan of him. I was a huge fan of Hamilton, a huge fan of his character. It's actually like, it was one of my dreams to play Lawrence, which is who he played. So just like being in there, like fangirling, but on the outside, like trying to keep my cool and be like, yeah, nice to meet you. But just, he's so great. It's just immediately feeling like I was a part of his family, and just every day growing with him together. And just, I mean, we grew up in two neighborhoods that were very close to one another. We have like a mom's friend's wife's husband who know each other. So we have that going for us, I guess. But, you know, it was great.
Fantastic. And Olga, you perform a very powerful song, Paciencia y Fe, excuse my pronunciation, about...
great.
That's perfect.
Thank you. About immigrating to New York. Firstly, what was it like revisiting that song? And also, how important do you think it is to address these experiences on the big screen?
Well, it was a dream come true for me. I feel like it's very rare to see the theater actor do their role in the film. And so I'm so honored to have the opportunity to revisit this incredible matriarch full of love and support. You know, an invisible woman. You know, we don't honor our elderly in our society. It's a youth-oriented culture, and to give this woman the platform that she deserves, you know, in a house coat singing an aria, is just, again, Lin-Manuel changing the landscape. I'm just so happy to be a part of it, and to be able to inhabit her again.
Fantastic. And finally, Jimmy, audiences have been waiting a long time to see In the Heights. How excited are you for it to be released in cinemas across the UK and Ireland?
Yeah, worldwide, the universe has aligned in a lot of different ways. We were all, frankly, a little bit depressed last year when we saw a trailer of the film, and then we were in lockdown. And, you know, the world has had a lot of time to assess so many different things, not only with regards to health, but so many social issues. And I think that, in essence, the film is joy, you know? You're seeing a community with hopes and dreams, but there's joy, and we need that so much right now. So the framework of the movie musical is the best way to convey that, I think.
Well, our film correspondent Phoebe Winter caught up with director John M. Chu about persuading Lin-Manuel to star in the film.
I did have to persuade him. He was like, John, I'm too old. I'm like, come on, bro, we need you. You can't have this movie without you. But it was up to Kiara, his best friend and the writer of the screenplay, that convinced him and said, well, we're going to cut out all the Piragua songs if you're not in it. And so he jumped right in. It was an amazing opportunity to work with him. How could you not want that? And then he was everything you hope he is. They say, don't meet your heroes, meet this hero. He is an amazing creative leader, neighborhood leader, a personal friend now. He loves to make things. He loves to work. It's not about him being this legend, it's him doing the work. And his whole crew does that too. So I got to have my friends, my small crew and his small crew have this sort of creative marriage together. And hopefully we made some magic for people to enjoy.
You're no stranger to creating a real visual spectacle. And I was completely mesmerized throughout, especially with the swimming pool sequence. How much fun was it to create? Is it as much fun to create as it is to watch it?
I don't know if I describe it as fun. I describe it as exhilarating. It was, sometimes the biggest thing you're making is a lot of emotions come rushing all at the same time. It's 500, 600 extras, giant pools. The extras, by the way, you have to keep them dry so that they don't get hypothermia. So you have to have towels that are constantly being dried for them. Oh, and you have ages 5 to 80 in that. Oh, and you have to have lifeguards so nobody drowns. Oh, and there's all these giant lights. You can't fall into the water, otherwise everyone will be electrocuted. Oh my God. Oh, it's raining. on the supposed to be the hottest day of the summer in our movie. Oh my God. Oh, our whole cast is here. So they're watching me freak out. Oh my good. Like Lin-Manuel is sitting there, some press people came out. I was like, it was a lot. But if you watch the sequence, everyone's fighting for their life in it, and it's fantastic. I think it translates.
It is incredible. You have an amazing cast. How impressed were you with Anthony Ramos's take of Asnavi? He's a triple threat, right? He can sing, dance, and act.
He's like a deca threat. Like he has so many talents. It's insane. You know, it wasn't a case of, hey, let's get this guy and put him in our movie. It's, oh my gosh, this guy speaks truth. Oh my gosh, he speaks through music and he speaks through his movement and he's from these neighborhoods. Oh my gosh, he understands this struggle. This movie needs to come from him. We're gonna use him as the lens. And that's where it started. I met him at a coffee shop. We cried about our stories, about how we got here. And I knew that we could tell this story as truthfully as possible. We have amazing music to lead us off, but that we had to crew up and cast up people who could speak that same language that he did through dialogue and music and dance.
I was really struck by the inclusion of some really important issues within this musical setting. Why was now the right time to bring the story to the big screen?
We always never wanted it to be political. We wanted to feel human. And if thematically our story was about home and what does home mean, what makes a home, how could you not include a person who only knows this place as their home, and maybe ask to leave? I think that was just part of the tapestry of the neighborhood. I think that was part of the tapestry about these questions that we all have, and we don't even give an answer. There's no happy ending to this. I think he says, the chances are against you is what the lawyer says at some point. But what Anthony says after that, but we can try, that's the whole key to the movie, is that it's just about trying. Like, we can only do our best, and we have each other to be there for each other, and think the world will be the world, and we can try to change it, but we're living here right now, and we only have each other. So let's focus on that.
From the creator of Hamilton and the director of Crazy Rich Asians, it's In the Heights, and it's out now. And with that, thanks for checking me out on the Bring the Film podcast today. I'm Patrick Downs, and you can keep in touch across Twitter at I'm Patrick Downs, also on Instagram, or facebook.com/officialpoptart. And there's also the website soof.co.uk. This is a podcast from soof.co.uk.